Welcome into another video where we're going through and testing all the weapons inside of MW3 to see how viable these weapons are for us to be using inside of our MW3 Zombies game mode. This is going to include the aftermarket parts, the aftermarket conversion kits, as well as the MW2 weapons. So if you're new around here and you like to see how weapons perform inside of Call of Duty, you're definitely in the right spot. Make sure you turn on bell notifications and subscribe so you're not going to miss out any future uploads from myself. As well, down below in the description you will find the link for my streams. I stream on Mondays and Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I stream everything from MW3 Zombies all the way through to custom zombie maps and have an absolute blast over there and would love to see you all come and hang out. Now in today's video, we are so very close to the 5,000 subscriber goal. I just wanted to give a shout out and thank you all for the support. It has been absolutely unbelievable. I have finished the Battle Pass, which has unlocked the final operator, the Kyrgyzstan's Ghost, and the Black Cell variant, I think, doesn't look as good as the just standard Battle Pass variant, but I think this operator is probably one of the creepiest ones that I've seen in the game. Definitely a pretty cool operator. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Battle Pass, Kyrgyzstan's Ghost operator. I think it's pretty cool. Now, before we dive into the review video today, I definitely wanted to mention the Black Ops 6 Vault Edition giveaway that happens when the channel reaches 5,000 subscribers. In order to be qualified, you need to be subscribed, liking, and commenting on the videos. Best of luck to you all. As well, if you're looking for players to help you out with missions inside of MW3, then feel free to join the Zhordecommunity Discord. We have crossed over 600 members, full of players willing to help out other players. So in today's video, we're going to review the continuation of Season 6, the Season of Buffs. Now, they went ahead and buffed the BAS-P from MW2, the SMG. Now, it didn't receive too much of a big buff, but I definitely wanted to check it out with the increased upper torso damage multipliers increased. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the MW2 BAS-P SMG, taking that through all three tiers, taking on bounty contracts all the way through. So hopefully by the end of today's video, you have a really good feel for how this SMG performs inside of your Zombies game mode. And at the end of the video, after I exfil from the Dark Aether, you should be able to make up your mind on whether or not this is a viable weapon for you to be running inside of your Zombies games. So without further ado, let's dive into the BAS-P SMG review video today. Welcome into today's video. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate that. Now we're continuing on with the Season 6, the Season of Buffs. So today we're having a look at the BAS-P SMG from MW2 as it received a slight buff for Season 6. So I was curious to see just how much of a difference this buff would make to this weapon. So we're going to spawn in, and if you're new to the channel, when I spawn in here and put on do weapon testing videos, we put on all of our perks with no additions to the weapon to make it any stronger whatsoever. Aside from running Deadshot Daiquiri, I run that every single match as I like the extra critical damage that it does provide. I do have one extra with me today, which is Mags of Holding, so make sure you stick through the entire video to see how the weapon performs with Mags of Holding, as well as the weapon build and camo is shown in the video as well, so I got you guys covered for that. So our first bounty contract we go off and pick up, and we got a Mangler, which we're going to be taking on inside of Tier 1, white rarity, just the base weapon, no additions to the weapon to make any extra damage. And I was already thoroughly impressed with the damage output I was seeing just on the base weapon with absolutely no additions. With the changes that had been made to this weapon for Season 6. So seeing this, it was kind of time to push through to the Pack-a-Punch machine, melee it, wait for that circle to turn green, then go ahead and use the Pack-a-Punch machine or your PAP crystals to keep your camo on for the rest of the run. So we gone ahead and done that. Next up was to locate our next bounty contract inside of Tier 1. Go ahead and pick that up, and we're looking to take on this bounty contract now, just pack-a-punched, white rarity, no ammo mods, and no tools on this SMG. And I was really impressed. We were certainly able to, dish out the critical shots. We're dishing out a ton of damage for sure. That was definitely something I noticed, just going from the base rarity to base rarity just pack-punched. There was definitely a substantial increase in the damage output I was seeing on this weapon. So, seeing how well it had done across the 2 first bounty contracts of the day inside of Tier 1, it was time to go off and have some absolute fun with our final bounty contract inside of Tier 1. We are now incredibly overpowered to deal with anything, absolutely anything inside of Tier 1. We're Pack 1, we're Legendary, and we have an ammo mod on our SMG. So, it was time to go off and pick up our final bounty contract of the day inside of Tier 1. We went and picked that up, and it gave us a Mangler. So we're looking to take on this Mangler and see just how fast. I love to do this. These contracts are some of my favorites. See just how quick we can destroy these bounties. And like, no problem. I literally walked through that Mangler inside of Tier 1. It was absolutely awesome. So seeing, you know, how we'd done across all the bounties inside of Tier 1, I was feeling incredibly confident even before our third and final bounty contract inside of Tier 1. So I was already under the impression that I was going to be going into Tier 2 to pick up our fourth bounty contract of the day inside of Tier 2, but I wasn't going to be making a pit stop at Pack-a-Punch first. We're going to keep the damage output where we have it at Pack 1 Legendary with an ammo mod. And, before I even got to my bounty, it just auto-completed, and then the reward rift appeared on my player, which was so odd. I got a ray gun out of there, which I didn't need or want, and a perk, the perk was nice to see. So then it was time to grab another bounty inside of Tier 2, and hopefully this one was able to stick and not self-complete itself, so we could head over and see how this SMG is going to perform inside of Tier 2 at Pack 1 Legendary. Now, we had a standard Disciple in the area, and you can see how easily we were able to melt that standard HVT Disciple inside of Tier 2, being Pack 1 Legendary only. It definitely wasn't much of a struggle. I was feeling incredibly confident entering this fight, taking on our Disciple bounty contract inside of Tier 2, being only Pack 1, and that's saying a lot for me because I really dislike Disciple bounty contracts. As you can see, the riffraff they spawned in there almost took me to a down, but we were able to kind of maneuver away from a large bunch of the crowd control that the 2 Disciples had spawned in the area, kind of dealing with a little bit of the crowd control there, brought them down to a manageable few, and then we were able to focus in our fire on our Disciple bounty contract, and you can see the critical damage we were able to dish out is truly astronomical, being Pack 1 Legendary inside of Tier 2. So at this point, time to pull out my handy-dandy pocket Pack-a-Punch machine and go ahead and apply my PAP2 crystal and go off and find our final bounty contract of the day inside of Tier 2. And I was really kind of intrigued to see just how fast this was going to be. The weapon felt incredibly strong inside of Tier 2, being only Pack 1 Legendary, so I was really eager to see what this was going to be like. Being Pack-a-Punch 2 Legendary inside of Tier 2, there was a Mangler right there in the area, standard HVT, and again, like, that was almost an instant delete of the Mangler. Truly amazing. And the damage output I was seeing on this SMG at Pack 2 inside of Tier 2, like, that Disciple had no chance. The only reason that fight extended any bit further than a couple seconds was because of the Disciple's movement. So I was really excited to kind of dive into Tier 3 using this and see what it was going to do as far as performance at Pack-a-Punch 2 Legendary with an ammo mod inside of Tier 3. So we stopped off at the Der Wonderfizz machine, as I always do when I dive into Tier 3, to make sure I am running all of the perks. Now you see me stopping in here. I didn't bring golden armor plates in today, so I just wanted to make sure if there was any plates around I was going to be able to pick them up. So I'm going to be making a conscious effort in this video, as I forgot kind of last video I did without golden armor plates. Kind of forgot I didn't have them, so I just didn't put any plates on, and it caused me a ton of problems. Let me know if you have done the same thing where you're running around in your matches and maybe you've run a few games with golden armor plates and then you're not, and you kind of forget and end up realizing you're running around without plates all the time. So we tested the crowd control kind of on a little smallish herd here inside of Tier 3 after picking up our perks. So I wanted to go off and really put this, you know, through its paces with crowd control inside of Tier 3, a large group of zombies. We've got 2 standard Disciple HVTs in the air, definitely causing me problems. Ugh, I hate Disciples. But at Pack 2 Legendary, this definitely can handle this type of crowd. You do need to be moving constantly at Pack 2, I found, with this, if you're dealing with a large crowd and you've got HVTs in the area, but you can dish out the damage 100% as you're pushing back and kind of keeping your distance from the group to avoid taking those hits. So that's definitely something that I was encouraged to see and had me feeling, again, really confident using this weapon inside of Tier 3 at only Pack-a-Punch 2 Legendary with an ammo mod. Now, there's a couple downsides I want to point out with this weapon right off the hop is going to be the ammo reserve size. Like some of the other MW2 weapons, I found their reserve ammo size is a little low. So the maximum ammunition I believe you can get on this weapon is 400 rounds. And I feel like that is about 200 rounds short for the weapons to be 100% completely viable to use inside of our Zombies game mode, because you certainly don't want to be running around Tier 3 with an absolutely empty weapon. You definitely want to have, ammunition so that you can shoot the zombies coming at you. So, this weapon, I feel, as far as damage goes and recoil control, is definitely a viable option to be running inside of our games. At this point, I was kind of done with the Pack 2 inside of Tier 3, so it was time to take this weapon to max damage output, put on my Pack 3 crystal, pulling out my handy-dandy pocket pack machine again, and head off and visit Zhorde, the Guardian of the Arches, and show Zhorde the new and improved Orion camo that they made a lot brighter and move faster for Season 6, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. But Zhorde wasn't really too interested in checking out my camo. He was a lot more interested in causing me grief and damage. So, you know what, Zhorde? We'll take you over here to the picnic table area, and we'll deal with you over here, since you seem to be very uncooperative today and overly aggressive. I'm not really sure what was going on with Zhorde. Maybe he's crabby. It is early, and it is a Sunday, so maybe I woke him up before he had his slumber, or before he hit snooze, and Zhorde is no longer in a good mood. But we had to do a lot of repositioning with this fight. I just wanted to kind of stay away. I had no plates. There was no extra plates on the ground, so without any plates inside of Tier 3, I definitely like to play it a little bit safer, so that I'm not going to be, getting into some really crazy sticky situations where I could be taking it down really quickly. The zombies and the crowd control inside of Tier 3 hit incredibly hard. I think it says about 75 damage a hit, so if you come in here without Jug, 2 hits and you are down. It's definitely something you will feel if you're inside of Tier 3 without Jug. But I was definitely confident in this weapon's ability to dish out damage with the buff that had been made to it for Season 6. As you can see, when we lay in the critical shots on the Mega Abomination, we're definitely hitting and dishing out an absolute ton of damage to Zhorde. Now, I didn't know that spot right there. I guess you're not supposed to stand on, as the dog was just not attacking me, and the zombies started to throw meat at me. Same with this location, but Zhorde fires up his laser attack right away. So I took full advantage of that and finished off Zhorde, the Guardian of the Arches, with the BAS-P and its Season 6 buffs inside of MWZ, and I wasn't having much of a struggle. That was definitely a pretty easy going fight with Zhorde, I have to say. Now, again, since Season 6 has dropped, for me, my Tier 3 has been packed like a shopping mall on Black Friday. Let me know if yours is the same since Season 6 released. I do believe this is partially due to the fact you no longer need sigils to go into the Dark Aether, so you're not needing contracts per se to go ahead and get into the Dark Aether. So I was going to take advantage of this. We used a mags of holding today, so you knew which Dark Aether we were going to go off to today, which was the Season 2, so I could replenish the mags of holding that I used. And I wanted to show you this weapon and how it performs handling things inside of the Dark Aether. The zombies, the crowd control. So we did our little trick to get in here by stowing our equipped self-revive, putting on one Casimir, so that we get in, we have a self-revive equipped that is given to us, and a second Casimir that is given to us. So that's something I did, and then we're switching around the inventory so that I can deal with my bounty contract, which is the first one I'm going to pick up. So I want to have my Jug suit equipped, as the sentry turrets I brought in are for the P&D Outlast contract. So quick stop to organize my gear in my backpack, and then off to pick up our first bounty contract inside of the Season 2 Dark Aether. Now, if it spawns in back here, through the building out the back door, I find is one of the quickest ways to get to your bounty contract. And again, wanted to show you all, if you're wanting to run in the Season 2 Dark Aether as a solo player, this is definitely the most efficient method I have found for myself to complete this bounty contract, if it's a Mega Abomination or what have you, inside this Dark Aether as a solo player easily. So the trick is to bring in one jug suit, and if you are, you should be able to take out your bounty contract, the Mega Abomination, inside the Dark Aether with the jug suit. You should be able to clear out the majority of your crowd control while you're in your jug suit taking on your Mega Abomination. And if you did not know, yes, you can get into your reward rift while you are still inside of your jug suit. So if you clear off your Mega Abomination or your bounty contract super fast and you've got time and you're standing around in your jug suit, go and get your reward out of the rift while you still have your jug suit to protect you. Now we got a Magza holding in there, an Elder Sigil, which I didn't need. I have a bunch in my stash. So I went and picked up the Magza holding, and then we picked up the P&D contract, the Outlast, which is the second one I do inside of the Season 2 Dark Aether. We made it over, and I've discovered that placing a sentry turret here is probably one of the best locations to put it down, as they perform a little bit better at distance. And then I was curious to see, a lot of zombies can spawn in this particular location right here while I'm doing the P&D Outlast contract. So I figured let's test and see how a sentry performs if I put that down in the middle of the Outlast contract right there. Now, with 400 rounds in your magazine with mags of holding, which I always kind of recommend if you're bringing in a bullet firing weapon into a Dark Aether, mags of holding will just make your life a lot easier as you're no longer needing to reload. Another tip while you're doing the P&D Outlast contract here, as you can see, I didn't bring in golden armor plates today, but being it is a tight quarters and fairly chaotic contract to complete, there will be an absolute boatload of ammunition, lethals, and tacticals on the ground inside of your P&D contract while you're completing it. So make sure you are picking up your plates, replating. If you are out of lethals and out of tacticals, pick up the ones on the ground and go ahead and use those to help you complete this contract. I use thermites. They definitely help out for sure, as you can kind of control where the zombies go in here by going over and back over the countertops like I do. So you can have them all kind of go around one corner of the countertops there, and you can lay down a thermite and have them walk over that, and they'll take a bunch of extra damage. But I mean, that's a standard HVT mangler inside of this P&D Outlast contract, and we were able to kind of make just quick, easy work of that mangler and just dish out a ton of damage to it really quickly. Also, as a solo player, I run Energy Mine. For those of you that do play solo inside of MWZ, I'd love to find out which field upgrade you run as a solo player. I feel Energy Mine is the way to go. We got a VR11 case out of the P&D Outlast, which was awesome, and an epic tool I was happy to take with me. So, off to the final contract inside of the Season 2 Dark Aether, the Aether Extractor contract, and this is the one I use the Casimirs for. Throw the Casimir down at the base, and you should be able to interact with the phone. This one here I was not able to. Now, I had an extra Casimir. I brought 4, so I figured, you know what? We're having an issue. This is going to get overrun by zombies really quickly. Let's go ahead and use that extra Casimir to knock out this Aether Extractor contract. And then, what the heck? 3 dogs just chilling there in a group. Like, what was that? I was happy here. I got my Energy Mine full. So we went off and threw down the Casimir right at the bottom of the Aether Extractor, and this one worked out absolutely perfect. I remained covered by the Casimir to complete that Aether Extractor, and then we've got our final Casimir and my Energy Mine ready to go. I was getting chased by a bunch of zombies behind me, causing a bunch of damage to my plates, so I put down my Energy Mine to protect my backside, and then threw out the Casimir and finished off the final Aether Extractor inside of the Season 2 Dark Aether, completing all 3 contracts. And then we were able to quickly get into our reward rift here, which gave us another mags of holding, which was awesome. So overall, a truly awesome run. I definitely had a ton of fun using this weapon. The downside to this weapon I want to point out is the reserve ammo size at 400 maximum ammo you can have. I definitely felt like that was a bit of a struggle to maintain ammunition, so just to be honest and transparent, that is definitely one of the downsides to this. As far as damage output and being able to handle crowd control, zombies, HVTs, sprinters, dogs, this weapon with the Season 6 buffs to it definitely has the capability to dish out the damage for that. So if you have no problems in your playstyle running over zombies and picking up the ammos that drop from them, then this weapon's definitely going to be a viable option for you. So let's work together down below in the comment section if you guys want to make any changes to the weapon as far as increasing ADS speed or movement speed. Let's work in the comment section to have one amazing build on this weapon for us all to use. As well, this is going to be the camo I was running, the Orion. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on the videos for your best chance to get in for the Black Ops 6 Vault Edition giveaway. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.